Welcome to the flowerschool.com video library. I'm Leanne Kessler, Director of the Floral Design Institute, and today I'm here to share with you a woodland tablescape. Do you ever have those days where your excitement doesn't match everyone's excitement? Not to mention any names, but I had one of those recently where I came home with this treasure. Is that not fabulous? The lichens are Oregon lungwort, or Oregon lung lichen, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's from a friend of mine who lives up kind of towards Mount St. Helens. He harvests things legally on land he leases and then brings them in. And this is what the elk feed on. So I've taken the food from some poor elk, but he promised me there was plenty more up there. And I thought, oh, this is so grand. I have to take it home. I wanted to put it at the house. Well, not everyone wanted it at the house, so I had to come up with something different. And now I'm going to share that with you. In addition to the lungwort, I chose a variety of green materials, looking for a variety of textures as well. I've got some miniature hydrangeas, some beautiful green roses, the variegated green of the New Zealand pittosporum, the more shamrocky green of trachelium, some kale, elegant cymbidium orchids, and then I wanted to add a little bit of contrast and texture. So some leucadendron, poppy pods, and berries. So many different things to use. For the container, a flat tray. Now it's not watertight, so I'm using a black plastic bag, a garbage bag that I lined, set the foam on the inside, and then I just go through and cut the sides off so it'll be easier to hide the mechanics. To make it fit on a normal tablescape, I want to cut it down. So I got a smaller piece, a portion of a branch, and I can just set that right across, letting it come upward, giving it some movement, trailing out. I've got a bare spot here, but that'll easily be covered in. I want to anchor it in place using an 18 gauge wire, cutting it down, then hairpinning. Just going right over the top, down into the foam. Then the flowers will help hold it in place as well, but this holds it until I get the flowers around it. Then using anchor pins, just the little pins, adding in more of the lichen. Just laying it across, pinning through and down in. And it has its own character. It's just going to do whatever it wants. Maybe let it come out over the front, and pinning it down. Bring a little bit to the back, making sure I get all sides. And then along with it, there was some old man's beard moss. Isn't that gorgeous? That just kind of trails, maybe tucking it right over here, letting it trail down to the tabletop. Basically covering all my mechanics before I even begin with the flowers so that it doesn't take a lot to make it look grand. The base creates a natural nest for all the materials. The hydrangea, cutting it short, and then just tucking it right down in. Nice and low into the water source. And again, maybe bringing it up towards the front. Finding the hole and then making sure it's down deep in. There we go. Onto the back side so that it has no front and back. It looks beautiful all the way, both directions. The kale is so large, cutting out the center, removing some of the lower leaves, and then tucking it in. Can reflex some of the leaves so it shows a little more. Finding a hole, setting it down, weaving it. The roses, oh so elegant. Nice addition to the design. Bring it to the front. Maybe grouping a couple here. And I've got a perfect spot for one more right there, leaving 3 of them together, tucking it down a little bit below so it shadows underneath. And then again, pulling it through to the opposite side, creating a horizontal line from one side to the other. And then looking to see where else I would like a rose, where I'd like a hydrangea, filling in. And adding even a little bit of the trachelium in the deep shamrock green, a nice contrast to the lighter green. And it's a little more delicate, so I can leave it up a little taller. Cymbidium orchids will be a fabulous addition. Too big as the whole stem, so cutting off each floret down from the bottom. That way, if I don't use them all, the top is still perfect for something else. But for this design, cutting off a few from the base, and then using a large water tube so that there's ample water reservoir, giving it a cut in the top so that it doesn't work as a tourniquet. Fresh cut, slide the orchid in all the way down, and then tuck it right down into the arrangement. You can reflex the petals back if you want, or leave them down. Again, cut, slit, and place. And then add them all throughout the arrangement for a touch of elegance. To finish, just adding a touch of contrast. Maybe a bit of leucadendron. The fabulous red picks up the red in the orchids, tucking it down, making sure it's down into the water. And another piece, grouping those 2 together. And maybe bringing it a little bit towards the front. Doesn't need a lot because this just is to add an accent. Maybe right over here. And then the texture, the Brasilia berries, breaking it down. And they're a little brighter, so maybe moving them more towards the center, finding a hole, there we go, tucking it in, and the poppy pods, grouping a couple, maybe over towards the front, finding a hole again, there we go. Sometimes you have to spear clear through the lichens to make sure you get them down into the foam. And then lastly, a little bit of the variegated foliage. And it's so light and delicate, you can leave it long. Let it come up over the top of the other things to add some softness, just a little wispy touch. A tablescape like this is perfect for the popular feasting tables today. And then you could take it one step further and personalize it by using cymbidiums at each place setting, because they do well even without water. Just cut them off and set them on the plate or on the napkin. For more creative inspiration, or if you want to contact us, you can reach us through the website at flowerschool.com. If it's easier, pick up the telephone and give us a call at 1-800-819-8089. And as you create away, please take a picture and send it to me. I do love to see what you create. My personal email is Leanne, Leanne, at floraldesigninstitute.com. Now it's your turn. Have fun and do something you love.